So, my friend from work asked me about this. Why is Amos Bow best in slot for Ganyu? It is only attack percent. Why not Skyward Harp, which gives crit rate and crit damage? Well, you see, my friend loves Ganyu and was hoping to have Amos Bow. The simple answer is, because she can use the second part of Amos Bow passive very efficiently. Here's the scenario. There's a little cute ruin guard down the road and Ganyu charges up here, charged attack. Upon releasing the mouse button, the internal timer for Amos Bow passive starts to count down at frame 1 of release. Then, the damage for the Frostflake arrow is calculated after the hit registers on the enemy. The time between releasing the button and the time the arrow hit registers on the enemy is the passive stack of the Amos Bow regularly. But it doesn't end there. What about the bloom damage? The Frostflake Bloom appears after the Frostflake arrow hits the enemy, or even the ground. The time between the arrow hitting and the bloom popping is an additional time for the Amos Bow passive to rack up. So even at shorter distance, the Frostflake Bloom benefits from the second passive of the Amos Bow. Since the time is still counting between the Frostflake arrow hitting the enemy and the Frostflake Bloom popping at the highest peak, and the Frostflake Bloom is considered as part of the charged attack, it will always have at least additional 24% additional damage from Amos Bow passive. Okay, after that cringe PowerPoint animation, let us nerd it up a bit with some live testing. Now that the normies are out of the way, it is as easy as pie. Just time the hits, right? What if I told you, mhyoverse is scamming us? Just time the hits, right? Just time the hits, right?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. Nani?
Wait a minute.
All of the Frostflake Bloom hits are above 0.5 seconds, but why doesn't it take the full 40% additional damage?
Wait a minute! Wait a minute!
I'm sure you guys are just as confused as I am. But before we reveal the truth, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Now, after some intensive testing, I found out that this was the case. So why does the passive timer end when the bloom explodes at the peak?
This is big brain time.
Here's the chart of time/frame data. You can pause the video now if you want to read a little bit of it. Here's the explanation. The Frostflake arrow damage calculations follows what a regular passive stacking for the Amos Bow is. Then, when the Frostflake arrow produces a little snowflake that floats at a certain time and explodes at the peak. That little snowflake is still considered as an arrow until it explodes, and the passive timer doesn't count the flake falling and hitting. There is approximately 16 to 17 frames or additional 2.6 up to 2.8 second constant that is being added to the passive timer of the first hit. Now, let's retime the 3 shots again using the correct timing, and count the passive stacks. Let's take a few more examples, shall we? Here's the damage chart of the latest examples. As you can see, the charged attack scaling starts from 0% up to 40%. While the Frostflake Bloom damage starts from 24% up to 40%, but the 40% cap starts at 2 stacks or 16% from the first hit of charged attack. Since we found out that the Frostflake Bloom damage caps at 40% during the initial 2 stacks, how can we utilize it? Just dash backwards once and do a charged attack while pressing back. It will result in 2 stack initial hit with plus 40% bloom damage.